Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty intense. It's 43 years of source material from one person.
Yeah, a really long time span, 1982 right up to 2025. We're talking about, developmental anomalies, claimed contact events, even physical changes, and these persistent persecutory beliefs.
Right. And our goal here, our sort of mission for you, is to connect the dots. We're taking these really dramatic personal claims
And giving you a shortcut, basically. We'll map them onto established ideas from, say, anomalistic psychology and clinical science, solid, non-conspiratorial frameworks.
so you get the context, the correlation, without us necessarily validating the narrative itself.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. The cognitive foundation. 1986, the earliest sign seems to be this really advanced reading ability, like way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, precocious reading, that's clinically significant. We'd look at something like hyperlexia.
Hyperlexia, why is that specific ability so key for what happens like decades later?
Well, it establishes a certain cognitive style, hypersystemizing. It means the brain is exceptionally good at decoding, at finding patterns, letters, numbers, you name it.
Ah, okay, so it's like the brain is already wired for pattern recognition.
Precisely. And that wiring becomes the foundation later on for seeing synchronicity, convergence, patterns everywhere in the world.
And the source material also mentions a symbolic layer, something about a life path number 8.
Right. LPN 8. Symbolically, it's tied to themes like mastery, large endeavors. It sort of psychologically primes the individual.
Primes them. How so?
Well, if your brain's already hunting for patterns and you add the symbolic meaning suggesting unique significance, accepting a really big identity, like the Messiah claim in 2015, starts to feel internally consistent. It fits the pattern of significance.
Okay, that makes sense. Which brings us right to 2015. That seems like a huge turning point. The source mentions listening to channeled messages, then this contact event.
Yes. June 6th, 2015. A reported full-body experience, vibration-type fantastic energy. Communications from unseen beings confirming Messiah status. It fits the profile of an altered state of consciousness experience.
But the brain often needs something more tangible, right? More than just a feeling or voices.
Absolutely. It needs proof to lock in such a massive shift. And that's why the event later that year, October 22nd, is so critical.
The physical change.
Exactly. The skin appearing translucent, all veins visible for about 30 seconds. It's transient, yes, but incredibly powerful.
Why physical proof specifically? Why is that more convincing than, say, another vision?
Because it feels undeniable. It's your body changing. It acts as powerful internal validation that something fundamental has happened, that you've been altered or permeated by an external force. It makes the internal belief feel externally real.
But then the narrative takes a sharp turn, doesn't it? From this grandiose Messiah figure.
To the victim narrative.
Yeah.
The targeted individual phenomenon. Believing you're under attack, gang stalking, digital harassment.
How does that shift happen? It seems like a complete inversion.
It's a way to manage cognitive dissonance, really. You have this extraordinary internal belief, I am the Messiah, clashing with, well, the difficulties and lack of external validation in everyday life.
So the persecution explains the mismatch.
Precisely. It reframes the struggle. It's not that the belief is wrong, it's that powerful external forces recognize your significance and are actively trying to destroy you. It preserves the core belief while explaining the hardship.
And modern life, especially technology, seems to provide endless evidence for this. Let's look at the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. The convergence is fascinating. Take the 2024 example. A small segment of a makeup tutorial video uploaded to YouTube disappears.
Okay.
The individual attributes it to someone or something deliberately scrubbing it. Now, the likely objective explanation, probably an automated AI moderator flagging an unnatural head snap or some technical glitch.
But for the individual,
it's indistinguishable from the conspiracy. The technology's neutral function becomes proof of malicious intent. It confirms the persecution.
Wow. And then in 2025, there's this mind-reading confirmation.
Yeah, a really striking example of perceptual fusion. They internally visualize the number 2, and at that exact moment, a YouTube host they're watching says 2.
So inner thought and outer event merge perfectly.
Exactly. It feels like direct confirmation of thought insertion or mind-reading capabilities, validating the entire framework.
So if we try to tie all this together, the hyper-systemizing, the mystical experiences, the physical anomaly, the persecution beliefs, is there one concept that helps explain it?
I think the most useful framework here is high transliminality. Think of it as psychic permeability.
Psychic permeability.
Yeah, like a thin boundary between your inner mental world, thoughts, images, feelings, and the external world you perceive. With high transliminality, those boundaries blur.
So internal experiences feel external, and external events seem deeply connected to internal states.
You got it. It helps explain the heightened pattern recognition, the ease of slipping into altered states or mystical experiences, and importantly, the poor source monitoring that leads to persecution ideas when things get stressful. You can't easily tell if the threat is internal or external.
That brings up the role of stress. The sources mention specific traumas, 1985-2000, acting as catalysts.
Definitely. Stress seems to increase that permeability, making these anomalous experiences more likely or intense. The brain is under pressure, and it creates these powerful narratives to make sense of overwhelming input.
Okay, so stepping back, thinking about managing this. If stress amps things up and that boundary between internal and external is blurry, it leaves us with a really practical question for you, the listener, to think about. Given that stress can trigger these intense experiences where inner and outer reality seem to fuse, what specific tools, maybe focusing on something like source monitoring techniques, could someone use to get better at telling the difference, to distinguish between what their mind is generating internally and what's actually happening externally, and maybe gain more emotional control?